Ladies and gentlemen and ladies, it is Tuesday night, 7 p.m., September 19th, 2023. We are on to our week 3 power rankings, ladies and gentlemen. Quick shout outs to all the listeners, all the watchers, the Wrench Gang, the family, all you guys who rock with me week by week, day by day. Tonight, we have your NFL week 3 power rankings. And it's going to be a good one. Cash does stuff. What up, man? What's going on with you? Crispy in the house. Ryan says Bills better be number 1. Come on now. I can't be. Ryan, you're already starting with me, bro. Already. Can't be biased. No. Got to keep it fair. Adam says he didn't tie last night. Listen, there's a lot that I had an issue with last night. That is for sure. What's up, Eric? What's going on with you, man? Yeah, there's a lot that we can discuss about those Steelers and those Browns. And you know what? It's one of those things where I'm really, I'm not going to say I'm questioning the integrity of the game, but there's some questions that I had last night. There was a lot of tinfoil hat gang in the building. Mr. Deshaun Watson did not look like himself. And I'm not sure if he was just having a bad game or if somewhere in Vegas, someone may have allegedly had his family hemmed up somewhere. I'm just saying, I don't know. I don't know anything for sure. I'm just saying things were a little strange. Adam says, honest question, who do you think the best 0-2 team is right now? It's got to be the Chargers. All those points, and they're down 0-2. It's got to be the Chargers. Shout out to you, Luta. What's going on with you tonight? Eric says, chilling with you, Jay, and watching baseball and putting my college football predictions in. Shout out to you, man. All right. I was waiting for you guys to trickle in here, and we'll go ahead and get started with these power rankings. NFL Week 3. Before we get started, make sure you guys hit that like, that thumbs up. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Week 3. As far as coming in at number 10. Well, actually, it's going to be 2 teams. I have 2 teams that are tied at number 10 right now. And it's going to be your Buccaneers. Buccaneers and the Commanders. And I'll tell you why. Both these teams are 2-0. But if I had to place a team higher that's tied in the 10 spot, it would be the Buccaneers. I think I did sleep on Baker Mayfield and what he was able to do. He's been utilizing Mike Evans. The defense has been doing just enough. And to be honest, the Buccaneers are looking like a threat in the South. One of those sleeper teams that we may not be paying attention to because Tom's gone and all this other stuff. And whether or not Mike Evans is going to be there next year, obviously that's in question. But right now, the Buccaneers are definitely a sleeper team. Baker Mayfield, 490 passing yards, 69.1% on the completion percentage, 47 for 68. He's averaging 7.2 a throw. 3 touchdowns, 1 sack, as long as 70. On the rushing side, you got White with 112 yards and 34 carries. Evans, 237 yards, 12 receptions on 18 targets. Godwin with 10 receptions, 14 targets for 109. So, yeah, I mean, he's got a good thing going here with this team. The offense is clicking. Defense is doing okay, even though, I don't like the amount of points other teams are putting up. But, hey, that's just the reality of it. The Buccaneers, I think, have a good thing going. So they're going to come in at number 10. Now, also coming in at number 10, like I said, is going to be the Commanders. I feel like they're in the same boat. Another sleeper. Nobody's really expecting much from the Commanders, but they're 2-0. And, yes, you could say the same thing as far as their defense. Really shaky, but it's getting the job done at this point. 501 yards for Howell. Completion percentage is 65.7%. 46 of 70. He's averaging 7.2 as well, as long as 36. 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's been sacked 10 times, so that's an issue. Definitely need to work on that O-line. But on the rushing side, you got Robinson Jr. with 37 carries, 146 yards. And then for the receiving, McLaurin with 7 receptions on 10 targets, 85 yards. Samuel with 8 receptions on 8 targets for 73. And then Thomas, 6 for 11 at 65. I would like to see more out of Dotson yards-wise, but he's been, targeted 12 times and has 8 receptions. So, yeah, once again, another team that we've been sleeping on, and they're performing offensively. And then, as far as on the defense, Carl with, 10 solo tackles, 9 assists. Barton with 7 solo tackles, 8 assists. And you've got Sweat, 3 sacks. So, yeah, another team that is definitely sneaking up in the power rankings. You got your Commanders and the Buccaneers coming in at number 10 this week. Fred Lucky says, bruh, the Saints, they're right there, Fred Lucky. They're right there. I just don't like what I'm seeing as far as the close games. The close games and them just barely scraping by. If you go look at the scores between the 2 teams that I put in the top 10 this week versus the scores and what the points allowed for the Saints, you'll see it's right there, but they're just not in the top 10 for me. They're close, though. They are close. Shout out to you, Fred. Rez says, Jay the GOAT. Shout out to you, Rez. Thank you for the support. What's up, Sheila? What's going on with you tonight? Crispy says, I don't recall him looking that bad in Buffalo. 313 says, am I late? No, you're on time. We're just at number 10 right now. Buccaneers and Commanders tied at number 10. Ryan says, Hoodie J in the house. You already know. Carter, what up, man? What's going on with you? Ryan says, Steelers shouldn't be top 10 after that fixed job. Let's keep it going, ladies and gentlemen. Let's keep it going. Coming in at the number 10 spot, Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions, ladies and gentlemen. After the showing that they put against the Chiefs, I had high hopes and I had high expectations as far as these Lions. And then they succumbed to the Seahawks. Now, that's not to discredit the Seahawks and say that they're a bad team or that they can't play football and be great. But I had better expectations for this Lions offense and the Lions defense, and they completely failed defensively as far as with points allowed, which is why they lost that game. So, Jared Goff, 576 yards, 71% completion percentage, 50 completions on 70 attempts. He's averaging 8.2 as long as 39. 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, 3 sacks. As far as Montgomery, he's been balling. 37 carries, 141 yards as long as 16, 2 touchdowns. He does have 1 fumble. Gibbs coming in second with 14 carries on 59 yards. I'd like to see more production out of him. As far as receiving, Amon-Ra St. Brown, 12 of 16 for 173. Reynolds, 9 of 13 for 146. Laporta, 10 of 11 for 102. So the offense is clicking. The offense is doing their job. It's the defense. It's the defense. Jacobs, 11 solo tackles. Anzalone with 10 solos. Gardner Johnson with 12. If we look at the sacks, only 1. Anzalone with 1 sack. You need this defensive line to get back there, pressure that quarterback, and start making some plays. Only 1 person has a sack on the whole defense? And we're about to be 3 weeks in. Come on, Lions. Come on. But you guys are at number 9 this week. Number 9. We'll see what they do next week. Coming in at number 8, ladies and gentlemen. Number 8. Bills, we are back. We are back. Shout out to my Bills Mafia. We are back. We fell hard after that loss to the Jets. I had us obviously in the top 5 for week 1. Fell to the Jets. I had to drop us out of contention because it just didn't make sense as far as that week. We're finally back. Number 8. After that amazing win, showing the promise of who we are as a team, and especially, I think, fixing the running game with adding Murray, utilizing Cook when they needed to. I think that shaked things up. I think that basically fooled the Raiders defense because I don't think they were expecting that, which I think that combination needs to be utilized each week. Focus more with Murray instead of Cook. I like Cook, don't get me wrong, but I think Murray just has that power to get through that wall that they need to pick up those 4 yards, 5-yard plays, and then, of course, set up the play action for Josh, and maybe he can go deep. Utilize Gabe Davis a little bit more. Please, let's figure this thing out. And I think they did this week. They did a good job against the Raiders, and it was a home game. We would have cooked Josh Allen if they didn't win this game. It was September 17th. Number 17 had to do his job. So the Bills obviously coming at number 8 this week. Getting into the defense. Obviously you had Bernard, 7 tackles, 10 assists. Matt Milano coming in, 6 solos, 6 assists. He's got 2 interceptions. Ed Oliver with a half a sack, as well as Floyd with 1.5. And you got Phillips with a sack as well. So defense showing up strong against those Raiders. And I'm excited to see what they do coming up against these Commanders, which I'm not going to say. We'll get into the predictions tomorrow. I'm not going to do it tonight. But I'm not going to say it's going to be an easy game and it's just going to be like, oh, we're going to run over those Commanders, because they're doing really good right now. So the Bills come in at number 8 this week. Crispy says 8 in my Soldier Boy voice. Listen, come on now. Go look at any other power rankings. Go look at any other analyst. Yes, you guys know I'm a Bills Mafia member, but I got to keep it real, and I'm keeping it unbiased. And if you go back and you look at the numbers, you look at everything I'm saying, you're going to see it's right along where it should be, along with the league and the top guys who talk about this. So there you go. Edwin says, who do you think is the best 1-1 team throughout the league? Out of everybody right now? I mean, I got to be a little biased on that one. It's got to be my Bills. Shout out to Joe Black. What up, man? What's going on with you? Jason says, I respect that. Yeah, I mean, I can't be biased all the time. You guys know who my team is. So when I do these power rankings and I'm doing these predictions, I'm breaking stuff down. I'm going to look at the defense. I'm going to look at the offense. I'm looking at who's doing bad, who's doing good, where the weaknesses are, where the strengths are. And that's how I'm creating my power rankings right now. And that's just the reality of it. With that said, coming in at number 7. Seattle Seahawks, ladies and gentlemen. Seattle Seahawks. I know some people didn't want to hear it, but here's the reality. They're 2-0. Nobody expected this. And yes, they beat the Lions, who just beat the Chiefs. Guess what? The Lions have been in the top power rankings. But let's get into it. Geno Smith, 440 yards, 71.6% on the completion percentage. He's 48 for 67. 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 3 sacks, as long as 31. As far as the rushing side, 29 carries for Kenneth Walker III, 107 yards. As far as the receiving, Metcalf, he's 9 of 11, 122. Tyler Lockett, I'd like to see more production out of him, but he's 10 for 14, 69 receptions. And then you got Fant, who's 4 for 4, 56. We need to utilize our tight ends more. But Disley, 5 for 5 as well, 52 yards. So, yeah, I mean, you could definitely say that there's more to be desired as far as the offense, but they're putting up the points. And then next up, you got Smith and Jigma. He's 8 of 11, 47. 1-1. You're right. I forgot. I did screw that up as far as my notes. My bad. They are 1-1. Correction, ladies and gentlemen. They are 1-1. And then as far as the defense, Bobby Wagner, solo tackles 15. Brooks with 11. Love with 17. And Brown's got a sack. D. Jones has a sack as well. So, yeah, I mean, we're seeing on the flip side teams that have this huge explosion of scoring, but then they're allowing all these points as well. Same spot that the Chargers are in right now. So, yeah, the Rams. But they are going to come in at number number 7 this week. That doesn't change, obviously, because they beat those Lions. Shout out to Banking on Money. Says, support my boy Gino. Go Hawks. Listen, he had a great year last year. Actually, it was his best year last year. So, without a doubt, I did expect the Seahawks to come out stronger this year. Have a tough team, and so far, they've been proving it. Carter says, 100% Kansas City Chiefs making the playoffs. It is way, way too early to talk playoffs in any team right now. Any team. Fred Lucky says, you're telling the truth. The Saints look sloppy. Will look better when Kamara gets back. Yeah, when the Saints are at full strength, we'll be able to assess if that really makes a difference. And, as the weeks go by, this list is always fluid. It's changing every week, and we got to keep it fair. When they deserve to be in that top 10, they will. Is it possible? 100%. 100%. All right, so, yeah, Seahawks coming in at number 7 this week. Coming in at number 6. Kansas City Chiefs. Now, listen, the Super Bowl champions, obviously they lost to the Lions. They won against the Jaguars. Now, here's the problem with the Chiefs and why they're not higher than what they are right now. They obviously held the Jaguars to 9 points. But on the flip side, the Jaguars held them to 17. And we expected more from a fully healthy, now I say fully healthy loosely, but you've got Chris Jones back, you get Kelsey back, even though he wasn't targeted as much as you'd want to see him. But at the end of the day, these are still the Chiefs, and I expected a much better performance coming off of that loss. And I did have the Jags for the upset coming into week 2. So Chiefs will come in at number 6 this week. Getting into the stats, 531 yards for Patrick Mahomes, 62.5% of the completion percentage. He's 50 of 80. He has 4 touchdowns, 54 on the long, 2 interceptions, and 1 sack. I don't think we've heard that much coming into week 3 out of his career. As far as on the rushing side, Pacheco with 20 carries on 93 yards. Mahomes on 13 carries, 75 yards. Clyde Edwards-Helaire with 7 carries on 22. As far as the receiving, Watson with 9 targets, 5 receptions for 107 yards. Moore with 70 yards. Gray with 69. Valdez-Scantling with 61. This looks very, very different for a Chiefs team. Kadarius Toney, 36 yards. I don't know, when you guys were happy about that from the Giants, I wasn't fond of it. I didn't like it. And in the back of my mind, I was kind of laughing about it. And, well, here we go. And he's been in practice, staying in practice late, catching balls because he needs help. Getting into the defense. Bolton, 9 solo tackles. Snead with 9 as well. Reed with 9. And then as far as for sacks, you got Karliftis with 1.5. Dana with 1.5. And then Uzoma with a half sack. Jones with 1.5 as well. So, I'm expecting, obviously, the Chiefs to hopefully get back to the team that we know that they are. But unfortunately, we're seeing a shell of a Chiefs team, and maybe it is the Super Bowl blues. That's just the reality of it. But this week, they will be coming in at number 6 on the Power Rankings. Joe Black says the problem is Chiefs expect nothing but excellence from the Chiefs, but a win is a win, and right now we're looking like the best defense in the AFC. I'm just going to pause on that one for a moment. He's not speaking from a complete side of bias at all. All right, let's get into number 5. Baltimore Ravens. What Mr. Lamar Jackson has been able to accomplish, without Odell has been nothing short of great. He's came back. He's proven that he's not only an amazing quarterback, but he can still get the job done in this league. Obviously, stats-wise, he's got 406 Passing yards, he's 41 of 55, 74.5% of the completion percentage. His long is 52. He's got 2 touchdowns, 1 sack, but 1 interception, but he has gotten sacked 4 times. As far as the rushing goes, you have Edwards with 18 carries on 94 yards. Jackson with 18 carries as well at 92. Hill with 19 carries, 50 yards. I would like to see Lamar throw a little bit more than running. Obviously, we know that he's a mobile quarterback. But listen, you got Edwards back there. You got Hill. You got Dobbins. Well, Dobbins is out. You got Hill and Edwards, so go ahead and use those 2 while you can and work that passing game. Because if you utilize it, you're definitely going to confuse the defense because they're expecting you to run, and that's what most of the defense's game plan is going to have. So on the receiving side, you have that amazing Zay Flowers. We said he was going to be great. 13 receptions on 15 targets, 140 yards for him. Beckham's 5 for 7 with 66. Aguilar, 5 for 6 with 63. Bateman, 6 for 6 with 53. Andrews, 5 for 8, 45. So, yeah, definitely need more production on the passing side as well. Getting into the defense, Smith with 11 solo tackles. Queen with 8 as well. Stevens with 10, and then Washington with 2. As far as your sacks, Smith has 1, Queen has 1, Washington has 1. Ojabo, Clowney. So the Ravens defense is definitely getting to the quarterback without a doubt. So when we talk about defense and what they're able to do, the Ravens defense is not to be slept on, and they are going to come in at number 5 this week for the Power Rankings. Jason has the Ravens played anyone who was a serious challenge yet? I'm going to be honest. It's kind of, this early reminds me of last year when there hasn't been too much of a team that we said, you know what, they're totally dominant. And we know that team's going to win. The only 2 teams right now that could even be remotely in that conversation is the 49ers and Dallas. 100%. 100%. As we keep it going. But, yeah, you got Baltimore Ravens at number 5 this week. Getting into number 4. Philadelphia Eagles, ladies and gentlemen. Philadelphia Eagles. Now, obviously, as the weeks have went on, I did say that the Eagles probably had the second most complete team in the NFC. And they're still showcasing that. But we've been seeing some discrepancies as far as their defense. And that's been the problem. We've been seeing discrepancies as far as whether or not they can close the game out. But as we get into the stats, Jalen Hurts, 363 passing yards, 71.4% on the completion percentage. He's 40 of 56, long is 63. 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 7 sacks. What is that O-line doing? What is the O-line doing? On the rushing side, Swift with 29 carries, 178 yards. Hurts, 21 carries on 72 yards. Gainwell, 14 carries, 54 yards. And then Scott with 6 carries at 43. On the receiving, Mr. Devonta Smith, 11 receptions on 15 targets for 178 yards. A.J. Brown with 11 receptions on 16 targets, 108 yards. Goddard with 6 receptions on 8 targets for 22. And then Gainwell, 4 targets for 20 yards. On the defense, you've got 8 solo tackles for Blankenship, 8 for Cunningham as well. Edmonds tied at 7 apiece. Slade with 6, and then 4 for Davis. Not too much getting to the quarterback. I mean, you got Sweat with 1.5 sacks as well as Davis. But once again, these guys aren't being able to pressure the quarterback and really, really commit to creating third downs, fourth downs for this team, which is why the defense is having a tough time in these games and allowing these teams to potentially come back. Granted, the offense is doing just enough to stay ahead of the curve, but how does that work out going into these latter weeks in the season? Getting into your week 10, week 12, week 13, when it really, really starts to matter. But right now, they're doing just enough. So they stay at number 4 this week in the power rankings. Florida Man says Miami, San Francisco, Dallas, top 3. We shall see, sir. We shall see. Tactical says, Jay, I feel like we're seeing Watson implode. Listen, and, everyone was hyping up Deshaun from last week. He didn't show that this week, right? So now it's like, all right, your defense carried you. And it's really unfortunate because I expected a lot more from Deshaun, just like you guys did. You get paid all that money. He's in the same boat as Burrow right now. I don't want to hear it. If you get paid over $200 million, you have to go out there and execute and win. There should be no excuses. No excuses. But let's keep it going. Obviously, you have your Eagles coming in at number 4 this week on the power rankings. As for number 3, ladies and gentlemen, the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins coming in at number 3. Listen, what Tua Tagovailoa is doing this year, he's coming back, showing grit, determination, will. He's got Tyreek Hill. He's got Jalen Waddle. He's got Mustard. He's got a strong defense behind him. And listen, you can't deny it right now. The talent that these guys have in Miami, it's a threat. We've been saying that Miami will be a threat if Tua was healthy. Well, guess what? We're getting a healthy Tua, and we're seeing it. 715 yards, 65% completion on 49-75. 47 is long, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 1 sack. 1 sack. Mustard, 28 carries, 158 yards. Getting into the receiving, Tyreek Hill, 16 receptions on 24 targets, 255 yards. Are you kidding me? Jalen Waddle, 8 receptions on 11 targets, 164 yards. He's averaging 20.5 a catch. What? My goodness. Craycraft, 5 receptions on 7 targets, 74. Barrios with 5 receptions on 8 targets, 70 yards. Smythe with 6 receptions, 10 targets with 67 yards. And then on the defense, Holland with 16 tackles, Elliott 11 tackles, Baker with 7, Kohu with 9, Howard with 11. There was some interesting news about Howard. I'm not going to get into it, but it's absolutely crazy. If you know what I'm talking about, it's a laugh right now. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go look up the news with Xavier and Howard. It's absolutely wild. I'm not going to get into the personal life, but it's crazy. If you want to know about it, go look it up. It's out there. It's crazy. But he's having a great year as far as for defense. And then as far as your sacks, they're getting to the quarterback. Kohu with 1, Van Ginkel with a sack, Chubb with a sack, Phillips with a half, Wilkins, Long Jr., Zeiler. Yeah, these guys are definitely getting to the quarterback. So that is why your Miami defense is coming in, or Miami team is coming in at number 3 this week, along with that offense. They are a threat. They are balling. And they're number 1 in the AFC East right now. Yeah. They're number 1 right now. So I got to say it. Juan says, same Finn start as last year. We'll see come midseason. Hey, I mean, you got to call it for what it is in the moment. It is what it is right now. Things can change. As you know, this list is fluid. But right now, they're number 3. Shout out to Tactical says, Sheila, tell Jay he should have streamed that game. I was talking about it until we got started. Well, you know how that goes. Dean says the defense is getting better every game. Without a doubt. Crispy says the Lady Sharks are not good. I can't wait for week 4. I can't wait either, but listen, it is what it is right now. Sheila says Tennessee would have been a guide. One-time stream. You guys are funny. All right. Dolphins come in at number 3 this week. Getting into number 2 should be a no-brainer. Dallas Cowboys. Now, we can get into the offense and, basically how they're definitely being held down by the defense because they don't have to do much. The defense is doing all the work. And hey, all you got to do is manage the ball, don't make mistakes, and get a couple touchdowns, and you got yourself a solid win. That's what's going on with Dallas. Dak Prescott doesn't need to do much because the defense is doing a hell of a job. And right now, Dallas has the number one defense in the league. That's just the reality of it. I liked what I seen as far as from the Jets, and they put up a fight. But it's just absolutely a completely different side of things when you see Zach Wilson crumble to Dallas. And yes, it's Zach Wilson. But guess what? I really think if the Jets believed in their running game, they would have utilized it more. But they probably thought that it wasn't going to work because Dallas is just that team defensively right now. With that said, as far as the stats go, 398 yards for Dak Prescott, 71% completion percentage, 44 out of 62. He's as long as 49. He's got 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. I got to make a joke. We'll see how long that lasts. 1 sack. So the man's being protected. On the rushing side, you got Tony Pollard with 39 carries, 142 yards. Dowdle with 13 carries on 50 yards. And then on the receiving side, CeeDee Lamb, which I would have loved to have seen Sauce Gardner really, really be on this man. But it just didn't happen. 15 receptions, 17 targets, 220 yards. Unbelievable. Pollard, 9 receptions on 11 targets, 49 yards. Cooks, 2 of 4 for 22. I'd like to see him in the mix a little more. Ferguson, 5 for 11 on 22. Turpin, 3 of 4 for 20. On the defense, oh my goodness. Bell with 9 tackles. Vander Esch with 8. Kearse with 4. Gilmore with 8. Parsons, who, without a doubt, looking like an MVP this year. 6 tackles, 3 sacks. My goodness. Odigizua with 3 sacks. Armstrong with 2. Golston with 1. Lawrence with 1. This team is a problem. This defense is a problem right now. And with that said, going into next week, the week after that, I think they're going to be tested. But I do think this defense will still come out on top. So that's why they come in at number 2 this week, ladies and gentlemen. Your Dallas Cowboys at number 2. G Young, you good, man? You good? What's going on with you? Crispy says it'll change next week. We'll see. We'll see. You know we do this every week, ladies and gentlemen. We do this every week. Last but not least, drum roll. 49ers. San Francisco 49ers. Just when you think someone's going to be able to take them out, they show up. And listen, right now, their defense is amazing. The offense is amazing. And this is the team. This is the team to beat right now. This is the team to beat right now. Getting into the stats, Brock Purdy, 426 yards, 36 completions on 54 attempts, 66% completion percentage. He's got 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He's been sacked 4 times. On the rushing side, Christian McCaffrey, this man is a machine, 42 carries, 268 yards. Deebo Samuel, 7 carries, 46 yards. And then on the receiving side, Ayuk, targeted 14 times, 11 receptions, 172 yards. Deebo Samuel, 11 of 16 with 118 yards. Jennings, 2 for 4 with 51. Kittle, 6 of 9 for 49. Then on your defense, Fred Warner, 14 tackles. Lenore, 16 tackles. Greenlaw and Ward tied at 10 apiece. Jackson with 3 sacks. Hyder with the sack. Warner with the sack as well. 49ers, man. They are the team to beat right now. I just don't see it happening. Obviously, we're going to cover this week by week. And a lot of people were hating on Purdy, saying that he's not the one. They were saying that he wasn't going to be starting for the 49ers. He wasn't going to be great. I told everybody last year. I had everybody in the comments hating on me, saying I was wrong, saying I was crazy. Now look at where they are. Look at where the 49ers are. And yeah, you could say he's a system quarterback, but so is Tom Brady. And I'm not comparing, but guess what? When you put a terrible quarterback even in a system, he's still terrible. But when you put a good to decent quarterback in a system, that can make them look way better than what they are. And that's where Brock Purdy is. And these 49ers are sitting at the top right now, number 1 for week 3. There it is. There it is. Shout out to Ryan, says Fins will never win another Super Bowl. You guys. Oh, man. Gardaki says for the shoe. Says Chiefs tried to give us the game, but our defense just couldn't accept it. I went to the game. Our defense was awesome, causing all them turnovers. We're in the red zone 7 times. It's crazy. It's crazy. Ed Ryan says this is blasphemy. What's blasphemy? Chiefs number 1? How? How? Is this a joke? Shout out to Florentino for subscribing. Thanks a lot. Welcome to the channel. Thank you for subscribing. Ed Ryan, explain how Chiefs is number 1 on the power rankings this week. Explain. I need to know. They won 17-9 against the Jaguars. I need this explanation how Chiefs should be number 1 right now. How this list is blasphemy. Because nobody right now has Chiefs number 1 in their power rankings. Nobody. So explain it to me, sir. Explain. Stephen David says Purdy is a stone cold machine. Ed Ryan says I'm being delusional. Oh, okay, all right. I thank you for that because some people are serious when they come in here saying stuff like that, and I give them a chance to explain themselves. But you said you're being delusional, so we will accept that, and we will retract any kind of further response. Shout out to you, Ed Ryan. All right. Tactical says Chiefs number 1 in an alternate universe. This ain't the Spider-Verse. Cookie says who you even have as the number 1? It's going to be the 49ers. That's number 1. I'll go ahead and put the list up for you guys. I compiled it for you, so once we got through this, you guys would have it. I'll throw the list up on the side. But there it is, ladies and gentlemen. That is the Week 3 power rankings. And I'll try to make this a little larger so you guys can see it. But I don't want to block up my logo here. So there you go. There's a list on the side of the screen. That's who I chose last week, or who was in the top 2 last week. And that's who I have going into Week 3 right on the side there. So there you go. Adam A says, I value your opinion and don't mind this list at all. Ravens for life. Shout out to you, Adam. I keep it fair. Like I said, I go through all the stats. I go through the games that I've seen or the games that we stream together. I go through all the analysts. I do all that stuff before I compile these lists. So when I do it, I'm not just, let me just pick these guys out of the air and throw them up there, or let me just make the Bills number 1 because I'm delusional this week. No, I go through, I do a fair assessment, and every week it's going to be fair no matter what. So there it is. There it is. Stephen Davis says Browns without Chubb is in trouble, without a doubt. With Chubb being out and Deshaun looking like a deer stuck in the headlights, there you go. There you go. Gardaki, did the Colts move up? I mean, they did, but just barely. Just barely. Who lost a soda on the game last night? Somebody lost a whole soda. Was that Josh Hawkins? I can't remember. I think it was Josh Hawkins. Coogie says, "What's your analysis on the Eagles' offense this year?" I think the big problem is everybody's seen what the Eagles did last year, and they've created a game plan for it. And I think they went into this year with the same kind of approach instead of making the adjustments needed. And that's the issue, right? It's not about just doing something that's going to get you by. It's about going out there and being great and dominating. So, yeah, incorporate the run. Use that play action. Get Hurts out there. Use his legs. But right now, going into week 2, it's been one of those things where you would think they would utilize the run game a little more, get A.J. Brown more in the mix, but it's been tricky for them. Once again, another team that's been doing just enough to stay where they are. And when they face a real defense, that's where the question is going to come. Because don't get me wrong, the Patriots, they're decent at defense, but at the same time, it's still the Patriots, and they're not the old Patriots with that stellar defense they used to have with McCourty and all those guys. So, yeah. Jacob says, "Jay, I'm enjoying my Victory Tuesday." Do we got to talk about Kenny Pickett? You want to talk about Kenny? You want to get into that? The defense did their job, but I'm still upset with Kenny Pickett because he didn't win them the game. Not at all. And if it wasn't for that Steelers defense stepping up, we would not be having this conversation right now. What's going on with Dean? What is going on in the chat? Let me go ahead and see what's going on here. All right, now we can't delete comments now. It's fair game. It's fair game on weekly streams, especially when people are just talking junk. As long as it's not completely out of bounds and within the realm, it's all right. It stands. So we gotta let that go. Jacob says, "Bro, our O-line needs to block. That was a problem." Yeah, but Kenny Pickett he's another one that he looked like he overpromised and underdelivered. He showed out great in the preseason, but we've had issues for the last 2 weeks. So there you go. Jason says, "I'm happy the Steelers won, but I have questions." Exactly. That's the problem. So there you go. All right, tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, will be predictions. We're gonna drop them early. I've got half of my predictions done. I'll probably spend a little bit of the night to finish it up, and then tomorrow we'll get into predictions early. Get that wrapped up as we prepare for Thursday. 49ers and Giants, I will be streaming, so make sure you guys lock it in. It's going to be a great time. And, yeah, tomorrow's going to be predictions. It's going to be an interesting one. Week 3. Jason says, "Pickett is a very slow starter. Give him time to heat up, and he will get better." I hope so. I had high hopes for the kid. And unfortunately, he just hasn't showed up to this point. So, yeah. Without a doubt. So, Banking on Money says, "How do you feel about the 3-point Raven win over the Bengals, considering they lost to Cleveland the week before?" Burrow's not himself right now. He's not himself right now. You're not yourself when you're hungry. So there you go. 49ers about to drop 40 on the Giants. We'll see. We'll see. Kathleen, who you choosing for the Giants versus 49ers? I'll let you guys know tomorrow. We'll break it all down. Make sure you're here for the prediction. And we'll drop it all tomorrow. So all right, ladies and gentlemen. It's your boy Jay. Make sure you guys hit that like, that thumbs up. I'll see you all tomorrow for the predictions. Jacob says read last. What's going on with Najee lately? Good defense, man. You can't run through brick walls. Unless you're built like a one. You know? It's just the truth. So, yeah. Duke's still going on about the Bills. I can't wait. I cannot wait, Duke, till we play Miami. I cannot wait. It's going to be amazing. Kathleen says, what time? We'll probably drop it around 11. Between 11 and 12. A.M. A.M., not P.M. A.M. So there you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to sit in here for the Bill slander. I will see you all tomorrow. And we can get back at it then. Predictions coming tomorrow. After that, obviously, if you don't catch all the predictions, we'll go ahead and do. I'll drop the clips as the week goes on, so you guys can catch them if you don't get all the games you want. But I'll drop the clips as well once we get through with the stream. And then Thursday night, we got your 49ers, your Giants. I will be streaming it. Make sure you guys lock it in. Everyone have a good night. Peace out.